Good evening, everyone. So, good evening. My name is Fedwa, and I'm going to be presenting today's session, day 28. And the session today is Where is our attention? That's our subject today. Sorry, excuse me. And last week or last Thursday, we looked at pure inspiration, which was the chakra, the second chakra. And today it's about our attention, which again is the second chakra on the right-hand side, but also the third chakra, the Nadi chakra. So this evening, myself and Nicholas will be presenting.
Good evening,
Hello,
everyone.
Nicholas. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. So I will be starting to talk about attention, and Nicholas will guide you through the meditation. So first of all, our attention is a tremendous weapon, and really we want our attention to be on our spirit, on our essence, because otherwise if our attention gets sucked into thoughts and emotions, the power of our attention gets compromised. So first of all, just we'll go back to please the slide that shows the thank you. Yeah, we'll go back to that, and the next slide, please. So first of all, to purify our attention, to keep our attention in balance, there are simple things that we can do. First and foremost, we need to keep our right side quite cool. We need to keep our right side in balance. So our attention resides in our liver, which is what we said is like the second or the third chakra. It's a combination of both, actually. The liver, you feel it both in your second chakra, which is the one that corresponds to our thumb on the right hand side, and also our middle finger on the right hand side. And so these two chakras, and that's where the seat of our attention is, in our liver. And first and foremost, we must keep our liver cool, or keep it balanced. And there are simple things that we can do. One thing is the foot soaking treatment that many of you have done before. And if you have a foot soak bowl, we're going to use that this evening. If you have one, if you don't worry about it. And also the other treatment that we have done before that helps our attention is to use an ice pack. So if you do have an ice pack, if you do have an ice pack, we just take the ice pack and we place it on our liver. So on the right side, just above our hip on the right hand side, and that cools down our liver. So basically, if our liver gets heated up, if we get too right-sided, so our liver is on the right side of our body, on the right channel, and if that right channel gets too heated up and our liver gets too hot, we become quite frustrated, angry, and what they call liverish. So our attention starts to prance around, starts to bounce around, and it becomes quite uncontrollable. And I think a lot of us we find our attention is a bit like a horse that just takes us for a ride, and we just go with the flow, and we never know where it's going to go. But something Shri Mataji once said, which was really, really helpful, is that our attention is actually like a donkey. We can guide it wherever we want. And if we manage to just pay attention to our attention, so just be a bit alert, introspect, see where we're going with our thoughts, with our attention, we can always guide it again back into the center, back into the present, or if we like, I always think of my spirit, back to my spirit, back to the essence. So I think the main thing to recognize is that if we are feeling stressed in any way, then we know that we're not in balance. We're either going too far to the right or too far to the left, because in the center, really it's the central channel, the soothing channel, and that keeps us in that balance. So if we're feeling that we're stressed, then we know that look at ourselves and bring ourselves back into that balance. And we use our attention the whole time, really, in Sahaja Yoga, not just when we're meditating, but throughout the day, watching ourselves. Where am I going with my thoughts? And is it constructive? Is it helping me? Or is it, first of all, a distraction? And otherwise, it could also be very negative. So you can really use your attention and guide it to something useful, helpful. Now we're going to start by raising our Kundalini as we do. And we're going to start with balancing, and then Uncle Nicholas, after Shri Mataji's speech, will guide you through the meditation. But let us raise our Kundalini now together. As we always do, the left hand goes up and the right hand winds around it. And we're going to tie a knot on top of our head. At this point, those who have a foot soak bowl can place their feet in the foot soak. And then we put our bandhan, our protection. We can close our eyes when we do this and bring our attention inside. And with our right hand, we're just drawing that horseshoe shape like a field of vibrations around ourselves to put us into that nice state, that nice realm where we can go deeper and we can go within ourselves and the environment doesn't affect us so much. So 7 bandhan. And let us start by dropping both of our hands towards the Mother Earth, making sure our back is straight, our body is relaxed. Taking a few deep breaths and just allowing any of the heaviness of the day, any of the worries that have accumulated inside, or the anxieties, whatever pressures we're carrying, just allow them to be released into the earth. And actually pay attention that all the muscles in our body are relaxed. There is no need to hold any tension, neither in our body, nor in our face, nor in our mind. Just allow it to relax. And just take a few deep breaths. And with each exhale, just make sure that we're releasing. So when we place our 2 hands towards the earth, we can actually feel the pull of the Mother Earth, the magnetism of the Mother Earth pulling out, drawing out all that we have accumulated that we don't need, that is sitting in our subtle system and causing constrictions for the Kundalini. And the earth element and all the elements really start working on our chakras to purify them. So the air, the water, the earth, the flame, the fire, if we have a candle lit, they all work to purify our chakras. We're going to place our left hand on our lap, keeping our right hand towards the earth, balancing our left channel. And allowing all that heaviness that has accumulated in the left channel to escape into the earth. So if we're someone who tends to find ourselves dwelling in the past, or is dominated by emotions, by desires, then we might find that our left palm is quite heavy. And just by balancing the right channel like this, we can feel that weight lifted. Let's place our right hand on our lap, open, and bend our left arm at the elbow to balance the right side, to balance our sun channel, and allow all that excess heat to escape. Within ourselves, we just say, I don't do anything. I surrender all desire to control, to manage, to dominate. I just want to be a witness. I do nothing at all. And this is very effective for controlling our attention, or for, I say, release the desire to control and then controlling the attention, but to master our attention. So when we're constantly thinking of the future and planning, sometimes our attention starts to bounce around a lot. And just by allowing the heat, that excess heat, to escape, we cool down, we calm down. And if we have a cool foot soak, that's also very effective. So what often happens with our attention is when our second chakra, our Swadhisthana chakra, when we're planning and we're thinking that we are the ones that are the doer, that's when our attention can become quite weak, actually, because it prevents us from connecting to this all-pervading power. We identify with our ego that thinks that it's in control, that it is the one that does everything. And that's when our connection is lost with that all-pervading. And when we just affirm within ourselves, I surrender all effort, or I am not the doer, I am just like an instrument, then we allow that all-pervading power to inspire us, and we get that inspiration, and we find ourselves doing and coming, or these ideas come to us that we would have otherwise not had. And that happens when that second chakra is clear. So now, with our left hand, we're just going to place it on our liver, or on that area between the second and the third chakra. We're just there. Our right hand remains open on our lap. And if you have an ice pack at this point, you can take the ice pack and place it on your liver. If you're someone who finds yourself quite right-sided, someone who's very active, this tends to go quite liverish, it's very effective to put that on the liver at this point and allow our liver to cool down. But even just placing our left hand on our liver gives it vibrations. You can just leave the ice pack on your liver for some time and see how you feel afterwards. So what's the most important about the attention is that we want to keep it in the present. We want to keep it on our spirit. We don't want to fall into the trap of our thoughts and our emotions that we identify with so much. Because really, they are kind of like constructions of our mind, constructions of our psyche. They're not reality. But if we can bring our attention to our spirit, it's really just the spirit that can get connected to this all-pervading power. The mind cannot, the emotions cannot, they cannot register it, but our spirit can. So we want that attention to be on our spirit. And our spirit is like that witness. It's not reactionary, it's not attached. So it's like the central axis of a wheel, if you like. If you sit at the center of that axis of the wheel, then the wheel can turn and everything around you can be changing, but you stay steady. It doesn't affect you when you are that spirit that is detached, that doesn't react. And that's where we want to be with our attention. We want to keep it on our spirit. So for those of us who have a foot soak bowl or who are doing a foot soak, we can now wash our feet, rinse our feet off, and we will listen to a speech by Shri Mataji. And after Shri Mataji's speech, Nicholas is going to guide us through a meditation.
So the basis or the essence of the Swadhisthana chakra, though is aesthetics, the force and the energy of Swadhisthana chakra is attention. If you have a wobbly attention, if your attention is 1 minute here, 1 minute there, if you have an attention by which you just can criticize others and cannot see your own faults, if you have an attention by which you show people that you are a frivolous, nonsensical person, then your Guru principle is wasted. It is the effort of Sahaja Yoga that is wasted. And your Guru's job is also wasted. Minimum of minimum. First, the attention has to be pure. But pure attention doesn't mean harshness. It doesn't mean asceticism. It doesn't mean disciplining your eyes like a blinkers of horse. But in all freedom, your attention to be concentrated. Where do we pay our attention the most? If we are honest, we can think on human level, we pay our attention to our children, to our wife, to our husbands, to our family, the relationships which are with love. So, when your attention has got the compassion and the love for another person, then only you can work out the realization of others. If you have to work out the realization of others, it has to be an intense love for another person. If you don't have that intensity, you are just moving your hands, raising the kundalini because your mother has given you powers, it's finished off. That intensity of love can only give you success with your pure attention, and I think the pure attention can only love. Impure attention cannot love. Because all impure attention is self-oriented, I-oriented. They are not self in the sense, spiritual-oriented. But the idea that spirituality is love, it seems to be a new idea for many people. They think spirituality means a person who is just absolutely dry like a beanstalk. And nobody can go near that person. Nobody can communicate with such a person because that person is too pure. If the soap cannot cleanse your body, what's the use of having the soap? If the soap is afraid to come near you, then it's better not to be called as soap. So, we come to the point that the creativity, if it is our aim, lakshya, for that the attention we should purify. And to be purified with love, with compassion. And the same attention, when it is filled with love and compassion, it gives you dynamism, it gives you strength, it's untiring zeal you get. And the joy of seeing your reflection into another person is very beautiful. No words can describe it. Of course, as soon as you take to this principle, you develop so many qualities within you. The first you develop is wisdom. Because you realize where you are going wrong, why this is not working out, why there's a problem, why your creativity doesn't act. It becomes evident to you, obvious to you, and you start learning. And wisdom comes to you and you understand. Wisdom is when you realize your mistakes and rectify them. And with that, you develop the balance, the understanding, how to deal with another personality. I always tell the story of a car, that there's an accelerator and also there's a brake. You have to use first both of them without understanding what is it. Still you are not a guru. You are not even a driver. Then when you know, then you automatically drive, then you are a driver. But still the master is sitting behind. So now you have to become the master. And when you become the master, you can balance the vehicle and you can see the driver, accelerator, and also the brake. And you can manage it just in a very simple manner. So this Guru principle is limited and goes on increasing its limitations, like the horizon. As you start growing into more creativity, the more people you create. And the central point of this one is the Nabhi, is the center, which like a big pivotal point on which the whole of this movement takes place. Nabhi chakra, as you know, you get it from your mother to begin with. So a guru has to be the mother. he must have the qualities of the mother, not the modern mothers, but in the real sense of the word. That a guru has to love her children and has to have strength and courage to correct her children. And the earnest desire should be to put the children onto proper lines, to guide them and to help them to rise.
So we'll just sit quietly now, which we've all done before. Keep us in a meditative state. This question about our attention is one of the phrases that you'll hear possibly on every guided meditation, because our attention is crucial to reach that state which we call thoughtless awareness. And it does take a little time to become aware of our own attention. How long it lasts, I believe that in general, the human attention stays on one thing between 6 and 12 seconds. And when it drifts off somewhere else, it does so in a very natural way, in a way that we're almost unconscious about. So becoming aware of where our attention is going is one of the most important steps we can do in our spiritual growth. And we do this by realizing that we need to keep ourselves as much as possible in our Sahasrara chakra, the crown chakra at the top of the head. This evening I'll be mentioning it many times to remind us always to bring that attention of ours back to the top of our head. That's where our yoga has to be more and more established, our union with the whole, with the divine, with whatever you want to call it. So that donkey that Adwa referred to at the beginning, we have to bring that donkey back to the top of the head. But it also can behave sometimes like a monkey and just jump away before we know about it. The mind, especially when we sit down in meditation, suddenly we're not active, we're not doing things, and the mind seizes, or the ego, if you like, seizes this moment to grab your attention and say, look, you haven't done this, you've got to do this, you didn't do that, you should have done this, and so it goes on. This is where we can say, not this, or I forgive this thought. And the other technique we can use is to look for the gap between each thought. Thoughts rise and fall, and as they fall, another thought rises, there's a small gap, and we try and get into that gap of silence. And we're so used to our attention being naturally part of us that it does take a little time to truly become aware of how we can control our attention and not be led by it, but we lead it, we bring it always back. And the attention is very much linked with silence, because when we are silent and the attention is on the top of our heads, it becomes powerful, like Shri Mataji mentioned, but it becomes like a searchlight of energy, of pure energy. Because then no thoughts or emotions or anything else will be filtering it. So let's just try, and I'll be mentioning it again. Forgive me, but we need to be reminded. So let's just find the best way to keep your attention on top of your head. Some people like to think of a flower opening or some light coming out, or Shri Mataji's photograph there, or whatever you need to help you keep your attention at the top of our head. So this is also very linked to our desire for our Mother Kundalini to rise up the central channel through all our chakras, awaken all our chakras, cleanse our chakras, and rise up through our being to the top of the head, through the top of the head, where our yoga happens, and is our Kundalini which helps us keep our attention there. The more we can feel at the top of our head, the easier it is to strengthen our yoga, our union. The more we strengthen our union, the more we feel the cool on the top of the head. And the more we do that, the easier the Kundalini flows, and so the circle goes on. Again, where is my attention? Bring it gently back. We have to be gentle. There's no good facing and battling with our attention. The more we press against our ego, the stronger it gets. We deflect our energy. Deflect our attention from our thoughts, our worries, our preoccupations, to the purity and the Kundalini and the feeling we can get within us. Our attention is very much linked also to that witness state you've heard about for the neck chakra, the Vishuddhi chakra. We aim to be a witness, to watch everything from a detached way. Because that detachment also leads to mental silence. So just as the exercise we did at the beginning, if you feel a lot of activity, mental activity, or you're fidgeting, there's too much energy on the right-hand side, the right-hand channel, you can raise your left hand up to the level of your shoulder, facing backwards, and let that heat, like rising through a chimney, go up into the ether. If you're feeling more lethargic or still emotional, put your right hand down towards the earth. We'll just do this for a minute or two. But your attention, where's it gone? Bring it back gently to the top of the head. A foot above the head if you want, or higher. Always remember, when the thoughts or other things come, we can say to ourselves, not this, not this. Or I forgive, or I forgive this thought. So by keeping our attention on the top of our head, we can ask again, where is my attention? Where's it gone? Bring it back. You're making it much easier for the Kundalini to rise. Pass through the skull to the top of the head and out into the ethers. Give us our yoga where we're all connected together, connected with the whole. So one last check. Where is my Kundalini? Oh, sorry, where is my attention? Bring it gently back to the top of the head. Stay there. Now, as we did at the beginning of this session, we can raise our Kundalini with our hands. Go up 3 times, 3 knots. I think you all know how to do this. And then you can put these 7, what we call bandhans, the 7 arcs of protection around our body, protecting the chakras, our subtle system. This brings us towards the end of the evening. And you probably all know, but for those who do not, we are continuing the mentoring program that started with the 21 days course a few weeks ago. It's proving very useful for many people to be able to have a one-on-one connection, to ask and share problems or look for solutions or help or meditate together, even meet in person. So there's a form posted in the Zoom chat, the WhatsApp group. I think there was another slide with the mentoring on it. No, not with it, had the mentoring, but that one, okay. We can read that. We haven't got the Zoom chat right now, but we do have the WhatsApp group. Well, there is a slide actually which has the QR code on it. I don't know if that's available just in this last minute.
No, not in this one.
Okay. Well, it'll be there. It'll be there in the next meeting. So on Thursday, which is coming up this week, we have the topic of peace and well-being come from within us. Yeah. Satisfaction comes from our spirit. Peace and well-being come from within us rather than looking for it outside. So that will be the theme for Thursday. Now I'd like to ask Father to join me.
Thank you very much. That was a lovely meditation.
Well, I hope everybody benefited from this. It's one of the most difficult things, our attention. It's like, as you said, it's not just a donkey, but also a pretty resistant donkey sometimes. It always wants its own way. Anyway, so I'd like to say good night to you, and also from Fadwa.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you very much. We enjoyed it. I hope you did too. So until the next time, good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Can you